Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus again, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. I have a poster that I put before you to explain some things that are on my mind. This poster is entitled, "The Serpent Deceived the Whole World." Now, when we talk about the serpent, we talk about, or we think about, in the Garden of Eden, where supposedly Adam and Eve were, who had been given instructions about all of the liberties and freedoms that they had in that particular location, except one, and that was a restriction, something that they were not supposed to do. And however, they say that the serpent came and convinced the woman, not the man, that it was okay to do what they or she had been instructed not to do. And for some strange reason, she was convinced and did it. And having done it, she convinced her husband, who supposedly had received the information, to do it as well. And that was the beginning of deception. Deception from the Creator, God, and humankind. Deception from between the man and the woman, who eventually had children, and it just began to roll on down to that time. And it has been suggested that to heal the poisonous bite of the world serpent, it takes the medicine that God gives. And what is that medicine? That medicine is love. Love for what? The obedience to do God's will. The obedience, again, to do God's will. And what is that obedience? That obedience is love. Love for God that can only be expressed through loving one another. And so while you would do that, the serpent continues to go around the world, deceiving people, saying that some are better and some deserve more, and all of these and all of that. As you can see, that serpent has gone around the coast of Africa. That serpent has gone around Europe. That deceitful one has circled the Arctic Circle. That deceitful one has circled Central America. That deceitful serpent has conquered South America and the Caribbean Isles. It has done the same to Australia, to the Pacific Isles, to Asia and Japan. Not only that, it has its effect within North America. And in North America, you can see the images of some of the works of that serpent. It has natives, and you know the story of the natives in North America. You know the story of blacks in North America. And what has been essential in North America as far as carrying this serpent's message has been black preachers and black politicians. They have carried the message to the black population here in North America. And as such, they have created pain and suffering for blacks all over here. Now, what else can you observe from this information? Look at it for a second. Think about the haters. Think about the Nazis. Think about the skinheads. Think about the Jews. Think about the KKK. Think about Charlottesville. All of those haters are ready to kill and destroy everybody else other than themselves. Everybody else other than themselves. They have pursued and conquered Libya, Iraq, still fighting in Afghanistan. Now wants to go to North Korea. All of these places trying to lie and deceive anybody that will give them a voice, anybody that will give them a chance. They want to deceive them. Now, what I want to say to you, ladies and gentlemen, is that you might think that it's not a good practice for me to say these kinds of things, considering that I want to be the senator from the state of Minnesota, who have dreams and aspirations of becoming the president of the United States in 2020. But I got to tell it to you like it is. And I want, first of all, you to know that when you talk about that snake, most people see white people. But white people are not the only people. There are other people who do the same thing. And I want you to know that not all white people are evil. There are many good, loving white people, as good and love goes as we understand it to be. Truth of the matter of it is, in relationship to love of God, there are none out here. But I don't want you to get angry with white people because this message is about white people. And I don't want you to get mad with white people because the head of the snake is a white person. If you look at the head of that person, it looks like Donald Trump. And I would say that Donald Trump carries the same kind of persona, the same kind of spirit he exhibits as is reflected in this portrait here. I want the people of the world to know that the reason and the evidence that this snake is successful in their locations is because this whole earth that you see right there was designed that people can be in all of these different places. And in all of these different places, the spirit of love should be in existence. Not only that, principles of that spirit, principles of that love had been given out. It is the deception that has taken it away. And in that deception, everywhere on the globe where people are, you find some that's at the top, having access to what they want. They bought into the lie of the serpent. The same serpent that took Jesus up on the hill and says, if you will allow me to be your boss, all of these things I will give to you. And Jesus' response was, I'll go to the cross. And he went to the cross, which is the message to all of those people who were in those days and in those times practicing the principles of Jesus. They said the Crusades had them hanging all over the place. But somewhere down the line, someone by the name of Constantine decided that he would try a new trick. He would get them to stop standing up for the principles of love and stand up for Constantine's interpretation, the King James interpretation. And in so doing, all that was supposed to be done, that was supposed to protect the people in Africa, protect the people in Europe, protect the people in the Arctic Circle, protect the people in North America, protect the people in Central America, protect the people in Australia and the Pacific Isles and Asia. To protect them was lost. And so everywhere that there are people now, there's crime, there's violence, there's poverty, there's terrorism, and there is the possibilities of war. Now, for me to tell you this, you might think I would be wise enough to get out of this campaign, because what white person would give me their vote? I'm not looking for votes primarily. I'm looking to tell you the truth. I'm looking to tell you those things that would give us the peace and the prosperity and the happiness we all say we want. We were all designed to want these things, and we will not be satisfied until we get it. It's just that we're going the wrong way to get it. And I want to tell you, you're on the wrong path to get it. But there's a way to get on the right path, and I am that way. You might not like my color. I might walk down the streets tomorrow and get beat up by cops because of my color. I might have a lot of you who will reject what I'm saying to you because of my color and because I don't have money. But I'm not worried about that. All I want to do is tell you the truth. And if there's somebody out there who knows the truth, if there's somebody out there who wants to be an expression of the truth, then they have a choice. They don't have to go and vote for evil. Even though the evidence in the 2000 presidential election indicated that they made that choice. They accepted the fact that only evil was presented to them, and rather than say and reject it, they went and voted for it. So I would rather be honest and tell you the truth, so I can go to sleep at night with my head feeling good, knowing that I've given you what God has given me to give you, and that I understand that you must reap what you sow, that the seed that you plant determines what you're going to get, and that you must love God in order to get the things I'm talking to you about. And there is no love for God outside of the love that you can share for one another. And that means black and white, Ku Klux Klans and skinheads and blacks, all looking out for one another. For the spirit of truth will give them the things that they've been fighting for so long. See, I understand that the Nazis, the skinheads, the Jews, KKK have all been lied to as well. They have been deceived, and they are just practicing what they have been taught. It is, my friends, the message that there is nothing that can straighten this thing out except what God has prepared for it. And that's God's children expressing love in the middle of hate. And therein lies victory. I want to thank you so very much for giving me this your time. Once again, to those of you in the state of Minnesota, I would love to be the senator 2018. You would have to write my name in. I will not be on the ballot. There is not enough people in Minnesota to be concerned about this campaign to go out and get the necessary signatures in a petition to put me on the ballot. That doesn't matter. I will be a write-in candidate. And if I am successful, I take this message to the Senate and take this message to the House and take this message across the nation to all of the constituencies of the politicians in Washington. My purpose is to lift up God in such a way that people will choose God's way and not the way of Republicans and Democrats and people like Trump. You see, in America, people are dissatisfied with what's going on, but they have been trained not to do anything, to wait for somebody else to do it. They thought that the chief of staff, Kelly, was going to go in and tie Trump's hands. And they found out that this general was going to do exactly what the generals have been taught to do, to take orders and shut up and sit down. And now they are hoping that Mueller is going to come through and set Trump down. But the Spirit tells me, based upon what's going on, you're going to be disappointed. Mueller might do a lot of things, but as this time sets in, it's going to appear normal what Trump has done and what Trump is doing. It's going to be an acceptable thing. And because it's acceptable and something that the people are not prejudiced against, then Mullen might just do the same thing as Kelly and say, I have nothing to offer. And the nation will be just like that figurehead, the snake up there, lying, cheating, and stealing, and running America. Not only that, those of you who say that you love God, you can look at this picture and you see how that snake, you can see how that deceitful one has done his job, went all across the globe conquering people with lies and deceits and division. And you know that it would take the same thing for truth to go and untie those knots that have been set up by this lie and this deceitful one. It's going to take the truth to go in and unbind these people by doing compassionate things, caring for them the way you would want God to care for you. It's going to take that in order to fix that. But no, you're setting up, waiting for Jesus to come back out of the clouds and spank this devil, and spank this serpent, and spank all the ones that's been cold and cruel. That ain't going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. The only way that can happen is if you stand up and you start doing it, and they are too much for you. But they are never too much for you if you're led with the Spirit of the Almighty God. Don't you forget it, Eddie Marcus, write-in candidate for United States Senator from the state of Minnesota, 2020. Even if I don't get the position of senator, I will be seeking likewise the White House, because Trump is not my boss. In fact, there is no liar my boss. And that's why I'm standing up for truth. And I hope I'm not alone. Thank you. Bye-bye.